I'll give you another basic point. Okay.
No.
In Portugal, this might not have hit yet. The worst job in this entire industry is being a trainer in this sport.
No, I'll interrupt you, Mike. The worst job is being a podcast host. But okay, go.
Yeah, yes. Well, only today, John.
Okay.
It's not always like that. Okay? Okay, it's not always like this. And by the way, this is one of your better days, but this is good. So, an owner who can afford to lose money, because hopefully he's using money, doesn't mean he wants to lose money, by the way. Len Green and Jon Green don't want to lose money. They want Sandman to win the Derby and be worth $40 million, okay? They want to sell horses and buy horses and trade. But it's not their main objective, okay? The people that in the breeding business, and we don't breed to race anymore, we breed to sell. Their Kentucky Derby is a yearling sale or a 2-year-old sale that we just had an OBS where horses sold for over $1 million, okay? These trainers right now, and maybe, Tinky, I would hope you could put yourself in these trainers. You can talk to Bill Mott and Shug McGahee and Todd Pletcher and Bob Baffert and Steve Asmussen and Mark Cassey. It is not fun. Nobody wants to be a trainer. You're under the scrutiny of all scrutiny. If you have 15 horses or 100 horses, you got grooms, you got people that come and pick the horses, you have HISA up your ass, you have vets that can make a mistake, healthy horses that can break down, and you couldn't pay me right now. My brother was a New York City cop, and I said, you couldn't pay me $100 million a year to be a New York City cop or any cop. You couldn't pay me $10 million a year to be a trainer. And that we, as an industry, don't realize that how tough that is and how people are getting out of their job. Todd Pletcher has 3 kids. None of them are going to be in racing. Bob Baffert, none of them are going to be racing. Asmussen kids are jockeys, not fucking trainers. Okay, so I want you to think about that before it's so attractive, and that the super trainers, the reason why the super trainers came around is trainers are getting out of the game. They can't make money.
That's simply false, Mike. Do you know
Okay.
how long?
How are the Portugal trainers doing?
Mike, you just talked for 5 minutes and you complain about me. Come on.
All right, let him cook. Go ahead, Tony.
Do you know how long Todd Pletcher and Steve Asmussen have been training very large amounts of horses? I mean, it's been for a long time. It didn't just happen 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years ago. This is something that happened.
Todd has 165 horses, just so you know.
Excuse me?
Todd has 165, just so you know.
165. Okay, thank you for that. This was a process that began many years ago. It began decades ago, and it's been going on for a long period of time. It's been unhealthy for the game. Why did it happen? It happened because, unlike every major sport, as you know, there is no central authoritative body to make decisions about what's in the long-term best interest of the industry and what isn't, and to make decisions. So unlike the NBA and NFL and MLB, et cetera, there's no one to say, look, there's a salary cap and here's why we're putting it on, because no one wants to see the same team win every year, et cetera, et cetera. There's never been anyone in power in the racing industry to do anything like that. And so it's been total free market. And I know some people, perhaps yourself included, would argue that it's better that way.
No, I actually agree with you. I disagree. Free market. I believe in a governing body for racing. So why don't we start with something we agree on? Yeah. Why hasn't it been?
It hasn't been because no one has pushed the disparate parties that have their own self-interests to allow someone to supersede them.
Yeah.
And who is that? Let me and you, we're really smart intellectual people. Who are those people, and where are they? Where would you identify who they are?
I know that you've posted many times and more recently about Toba and the Jockey Club and so on. And yes, those are ostensibly the powerful organizations in the industry. And we agree that they've been in power during this accelerating decline. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of fundamental things that we agree on, for sure. Okay. And that's one of them.
So, but to me, every problem that you have the brilliance, I'll pretend it's brilliant, to identify the core is the root of the issue. The root of the issue is the Jockey Club, the de facto governing body, is full of people who care about only their self-interest. The Breeders' Cup is just an extension of the Jockey Club, and it's a 2-day party that doesn't make money. Tober's a joke. NTRA is the arm of marketing. They haven't done marketing in 20 years. And until you fix those four, the super trainer, the mare cap, owners, the purses, the fan engagement, the marketing, the growing of the pie and revenue and gambling will all has no chance. That is the issue. Would you agree that the Jockey Club has hurt the sport?
Well, I don't know. I think in some ways they've helped it, but on balance, well, in some way, you don't think that the Grayson Jockey Club, what they've done for horse health, has been very beneficial. You don't think that Equibase is a benefit to the sport? I'm not saying it couldn't be better.
Equibase. What does Equibase do? They sell information that every other sport gives out for free.
Yes, I agree. We agree that it should be
free. Well, you just told me Equibase helped, and now you're saying you agree with me.
It's never binary. It's never black and white, Mike. Why you think things are black and white? Because they do some things.
Because I've been in business for 40 years.
Is this how you deal? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Is this how you deal with your children? If your daughter makes a mistake,
I'm tough on her. You're right.
Is she suddenly a bad daughter? I mean, come on. It's gross.
No, I give her rewards when she does bad. That's what I say.
Okay, I see. Well, look,
and I give her I gave the Jockey Club a participation trophy.
We're in. If you don't think the Jockey Club has done anything positive, then you're just not being honest about it. If you want to say on balance,
I think they've done 80% negative.
Okay, all right. So you think they're largely negative? That's fine. We don't have to argue about percentages. I agree they could have done a better job. I agree. I don't have a percentage in mind. I agree. We agree the leadership has failed.
You're a smart person. I'm going to ask you. Give me a percent. If just off your gut
instinct. I'm not going to give you a percentage. There's no way percentage.
What does it matter? I mean, it's all subjective.
Hey, Joe, if I said John carried 99% of the show and you won, you know what? It would matter. So if I say it's 90-10, it matters. So does he think they're 80% negative or 20%?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I think.
It makes more sense to get into like the individual issues, which I think is what we should be doing now.
I like the way he skirts around like the issues. That's all.
What should matter is that we're in basic agreement that leadership has failed. We're in basic agreement that in an ideal world, an authoritative central body that could make decisions that were against the best interest of these individual organizations would be preferable. We're in agreement. How do you think that could be accomplished?
Hold on. I love this. We're in agreement. I love this. Here's my biggest issue. You can't fix everything else you want to fix until we fix that. You're wasting your time with trying to fix the other pieces. If you kill the root, the tree doesn't grow. That's the root.
How do you imagine that a central authority could be established with such infighting amongst the big players?
Well, first of all, do you know how, I spend about $25 million a year. John and his father spend a lot. Johnny, you and your dad members of the Jockey Club?
We're not, as far as the hierarchy of it. No. As far as the hierarchy, meaning like,
are you a member of the Jockey Club?
I'm not on the board of members, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, there's like 60 or 70 board of members. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I'm not. How do you get membership?
I'm not on it, but we do pay, naming fees, and we pay,
But so do we. But okay. I spend $25 million a year. You have a successful stable. Why aren't you on it?
Right. Yeah.
Why aren't you on it, John?
That's a legitimate question. I would like to think that with the ushering in of the new chairperson, that things like that are going to change. Now, Mike, you had.
I'm not on it. I spend $25 million a year. How do you get on it?
But it's because they think you'll take it over. That's why.
Oh, no, I'll take it over and I'll do good for racing. Oh my God.
All right. So Mike, I'm just going to jump in for a second.
Thank you, John. You're helping me. I appreciate it.
So the Jockey Club, I just want to defend him for a second. The Jockey Club,
nothing to defend.
You can make the argument that they brought in 5 stones, which then ultimately, bore out what we have now with a centralized rule system with HISA. I would like to think that that's a positive that came out. Now, did it come out directly from the Jockey Club? No, you can't go A to B to C. But I feel like that they were present in making sure that that happened. I would think that you would agree that HISA is a positive overall. They had some stumbling blocks in the beginning, but overall, it's made racing safer. I think that's a byproduct of the Jockey Club.